welcome back to another episode of the Higher Level Podcast. So it's been a while. We've been on a slight hiatus, but we are back now, and obviously joined by James Doolan as always. I think tonight we're going to be catching up and finding out what's been happening at Higher Level. James, you can get us posted up and let us know what's been going on. 2022, we're all back to normal. It's great. How's things been with you, mate?
We've been busy, man. Jim's busy. Student-wise, all the classes are more the usual stuff. We're getting on with it. Fight team-wise, where are we? Obviously, Stevie's kind of the main. Mm-hmm. The biggest news is he's beat Anthony Pettis twice since we taken a kind of break for the podcast. Where he's headlined PFL at Madison Square Garden. And he's 11 weeks out for fighting for PFL World Title and $1 million. It's back at I think it's back in New York. Actually, they were saying it's got to be Vegas, but message the other day saying it's got to be in the East Coast and probably New York. So we're waiting to find out if it's back at Madison Square Garden, which would be pretty cool. We've Danny's back training. He was matched on the Paris UFC card and then got his ribs done in the gym, so had to pull. He's back in the gym now, so he's probably going to look at getting a month or two of training, and then we'll message Sean Shelby and just get him out at some point, hopefully later on in the year. Shanks has just been announced for Cage Warriors against the Irish kid for Calbon. Happening. We've been busy, man. We've been busy with our amateur guys. With guys on top at the weekend. It was good to have that show back up in Scotland. We've got a couple of guys going to Cage Warriors Academy in the 8th of October. Logan's fighting for the bantamweight title there. With Stephen Clancy over in Canada, I'm trying to remember all the other shit, won the WBC World Youth Games Thai boxing. Looked incredible. Kid's 15. Head contact fights. He beat the Canadian champion and the Mexican champion. The WBC World Champion at 15 years old, which is frightening. And other than that, we've just been training, man. Do you know what I mean? Just taking over training. We've had a massive influx recently. I don't know what's going on through here, but we've had a massive influx of kind of 14, 15-year-old lads coming in. I don't know if one of these wee guys just came in and then just went to school and being like, oh, I'm doing this. But there's maybe about 12 of them turned up. And they're keen, so we've got this wee group, almost like a wee subgroup of kids now. We're mixing in with the other guys, and everyone's looking good, man.
It's good that, but seeing you get groups of kids in that age, because it's the future of the gym, really, isn't it? And potentially future of the fight team, because you don't know who the kids is potentially going to go on and make a career out of this. Aye,
plus it's the effect martial arts has got on these kids. It's keeping them out of trouble. The bit I live, there's a gang of kids up there, the same way I was when I was younger, but there's about 40 of the wee guys outside the bloody shop every night, and you worry about them. This wee group of guys are off, I think they're for a couple of different schools, but they've got really pally with each other, so they're hanging about with each other outside. They're for different areas and stuff. I was driving down the night, and I was driving up the road actually to drop Lindsay off before I came back to the gym for 5 o'clock, and I passed one of the wee guys, a wee guy called Josh from Whitburn. I passed him, he's a 15-year-old, and he's walking from Whitburn to the gym. So he's walking about an hour. I asked him when he came in, I was like, you walked in? And he's like, it's a fucking hour walk, do you know what I mean? So I was like, it shows you, when the kids got, man, I was quite impressed with that, to be fair. But we've spoken about it before, but it's a very, very healthy pursuit for kids that age, especially boys. They've got that bad energy at that age. It's good, man. It's been pretty cool having them in the gym as well.
I was going to say, it must have an impact in the energy in the gym, having that amount of young guys about, obviously, like you say, full of energy, eager to learn, I'm assuming. Do you notice how the atmosphere in the gym as well, having all the young guys in?
A wee bit, man. It takes them a wee while to settle in and get up to speed with the vibe here, but they're good kids so far. But it helps when you come in and they've got like Stephen Clancy's there at 15-year-old, and they're like, he's the same age as us, and he's just been to Canada, and and win a world title. Do you know what I mean? And stuff like that. So they can see like there's stuff there for them. It does take them a wee while to get into the knack with certain things. There's a couple of them tried to get out after 50 minutes the other night, like one hour class, and I'm like, this isn't it's not over when the bell goes here. You're done when I say it, done. I'd get them back in and stuff like that. But it's been cool. I get that thing now where sometimes I'm like, what are these wee fuckers talking about? I'm like 43, and I'm like, I can hang with some of the 30-year-olds and some of the late 20s, some of the early 20-year-olds and the teenagers. I'm like, I have no idea what the fuck they're talking about. Some of them take the piss at me, and I'm like, he doesn't know how to work FaceTime and all this shit. Do you know what I mean? I'm like, fucking little bastards. But these kids are all right, man. If they usually have the last 2 or 3 weeks here, you know that they're keen, and if they keep coming back on their own accord and stuff like that at that age, then it usually bodes pretty well for the future for them. But it's just a weird. We've never had that many just all turn up on the same couple of nights. Do you know what I mean? It's usually you get one or two every now and again, and they'll either like it and you'll retain them or they'll go away. But this wee group of guys is just all rocked up together at the same time. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, and just to jump back to obviously Stevie. So obviously Stevie looked like he was retired there. He said he was retired and he's come back, and I mean, in terms of what he's done when he come back, he's in at the PFL, obviously beating Pettis twice, and then a possibility fight to win the PFL tournament and get the $1 billion. I mean, that's motivation right there. But just on the Pettis fight, obviously the submission, it was like Stevie's modification of a twister, wasn't it? He finished him with.
Aye. He's actually got a wee system he moves. He hits off of that position. It wasn't a fluke. There's some guys being like, "Oh, Pettis must have an injury and whatever," but I've been hit with that submission. I've tapped it before. I think the majority of the gym has, and he's got setups and stuff like that. But it's a move that we actually spoke about before the fight, because Pettis is exceptionally good at escaping the back. He's done it with very good guys before, and we knew that if Stevie got on his back, he would try and hit that. And it's one of the things like a jigsaw puzzle where Stevie's counter move fits his move perfectly. So it's like, as soon as he got on the back, I knew it. You can hear me screaming like an idiot in the video, because I knew Pettis was going to turn up into it, and I know that Pettis has probably never seen the move before, and I know when Stevie starts squeezing those things, he's the same with guillotines and north-south chokes and stuff like that. He's got an exceptional squeeze. I knew it was done at that point. In terms of the Pettis fight, the first fight was easier because we knew we needed a finish. We know how to fight Anthony Pettis. If you go at him and put him on his heels and back him up, you can cause him problems. He's been the same way his whole career. If you hang off him, he's going to showtime. He's going to make you look absolutely stupid. So everything we done for that first fight was about getting him pressing forward and then try to take him out to get to the main thing for us was the win, obviously. If we got the finish to get into the playoffs, then that was a bonus. But we needed just a win because he'd had the 3 years off. He came back and lost that first fight to Martinez, and we were worried about that first fight because he could have looked absolutely done in that fight and out his depth, and he didn't. He looked competitive. He was rusty and he made some mistakes. We fixed that, but you could see in the second fight, in the Pettis fight, he looked better again, and then again in the second Pettis fight, again it was like he was very comfortable. So the consistency of fighting I think it was 3 fights in 15 weeks or every up there or thereabouts suits him. Do you know what I mean? He's not got time to get away from stuff, and we've got I think it was 18 weeks between the second Pettis fight and then this final. So he had a couple of weeks off. We came back into the gym. We're doing a 6-week kind of mini camping, and then going into an 8-week fight prep, and that'll leave us the last week for travelling and making weight.
Yeah, and whatever way you cut it, it's 2 wins over Anthony Pettis. I mean, the biggest wins of Stevie's career, would you say?
I don't think people realise, especially newer guys might not realise what Pettis is in the sport. He's a UFC champion. He was a WEC champion. He's a multi-millionaire through fighting. This guy, when we were over there, he's a superstar in the sport. Like when we was getting special treatment over there, he was recognised there in the street. He was a bit of a poster boy for the PFL and stuff like that. He's no mug. Like, he's a guy everybody who watches the sport knows. And again, he's got some big names and big wins on his record. He's a very, very good fighter. And there is an element here. He has passed his best, but you can counteract that by saying Stevie might be past his best as well. Do you know, Stevie's not 28 anymore. He's not 26. He's obviously had injuries and stuff like that as well. He's had to change his style to meet stuff that his body can't keep up with physically that he could have done before. He's had to become a bit of a smarter fighter and stuff like that. So it was a fair fight, and again, it's a big win. But if you look at Stevie's resume now, there's Pettis on there twice, there's Michael Johnson on there, there's Lozon on there, there's Pearson on there. There's not another fighter in the UK other than Bisping and possibly Leon Edwards now, obviously, who can compete with that resume. Do you know what I mean? Near the lightweight, definitely. And if he goes on and wins the world title in 11 weeks, he becomes, I think that's the fifth UK guy to win a British title, a world title, maybe fifth or fourth. But first Scottish, which is a big thing for him.
And the other thing that you cannot deny about it, it's winning a PFL title, which would be amazing, but it's what's on the line as well. Not just the title, it's the financial implications, because it's life-changing, really, isn't it?
A lot of people say that, even when they get signed to the UFC, and it isn't really, unless you had absolutely nothing before. But that's a different thing, that completely, because he's been paid for his previous fights. You know what I mean? He's made good money already being at PFL. The flip side as well is when he wins it, he obviously gets the $1 million. He's signed there again for next season, so regardless of what happens in the final, his money's gone up next year, because he's no longer just UFC veteran Stevie Ray. He's a guy who's now fought for the world title. He's beat Pettis twice, so they renegotiate his single fight deal and he gets paid more. I think he'll probably go into a flat fee for the two tournament fights next year. And then the format's a bit different when you get to the semi-final in the PFL. It doesn't matter what you get paid for your flat rate unless you're Pettis. The semi-final guys were getting paid $50,000 to win. And then when if they win the final, they get $950. So that's what makes the million instead of two fights. Yeah. If you lose the semi-final, you get 25 grand. If you lose the final, you get 50. So even if you win your semi-final and lose the final, you still got 100 for the two fights. But he can go in next year with this new contract, and he'll be getting paid substantially more than that just for the two regular season fights. Yeah.
So I mean, PFL are obviously, if you get to the obviously semis and that, then you're earning good money, regardless of the millions. But
you've seen how many guys are. Well, Pettis was on. Pettis got 1.5 million for the two fights with Stevie. Do you know what I mean? Like, you get some. You're seeing Burgos has just signed. Big Santos has just signed. These guys are getting offered more money with PFL. They're getting the chance to fight more frequently. And if you're being honest, the level of competition is maybe lower to a certain extent with some of the fights. So it's building really well there, man. Obviously, the announcement where they've got the European shows and stuff coming next year. They're talking about possibly hitting 30 shows next year. So we've been in talks. We try to get a couple more of our guys there. And I think Stevie winning Stevie's the world champion at lightweight. It gives us a wee bit of leeway with getting some of his teammates in. You've seen this before with organisations, but they've came to us and they're keen on guys like Mark and Dylan and stuff like that. They've obviously been scouting the rest of their team. So we'll see what happens. But I think they'll have the finale in November for the finals, and then everyone kicks in March. I think between the European shows and they refer to them as their global shows, which is the World Championships that Stevie's in.
Brilliant. And You also briefly touched on Top's, but On Top's been away for a while. You had, let me just see if I get, might need to correct me here. You had Camille fighting at On Top. You had Coonley. Was there anybody else you had on?
We had Robbie Dunlop as well. Right. Had his first fight for us as well. So the three we had, Robbie was on fight 4 or something. He fought a guy for a Mortals Gold team in Aberdeen. I think the guy was maybe like a decent striker, kickboxer and stuff. And obviously they've got some jiu-jitsu guys up there, a bunch of black belts and stuff. I think one of Stevie's guys had beat this guy before, but the guy was 1-1 and Robbie was 0-1. Robbie had a fight before he came to Higher Level and lost. We've had him in the system now for a wee bit, and what we've done with him is he's a short, I could say short, but he's got a funny structure for 77 kilos, Robbie. He's shortish at the weight, but he's absolutely built like a tank. So we've tailored his game to that, and got him fighting to match his physical attributes in his frame. And he looked good, man. The kid for Aberdeen had a lot of kickboxing experience, and he looked pretty loose on his feet and stuff. And there was some good wee exchanges in the first round. The boy for Aberdeen shut down a couple of Robbie's takedown attempts in the first round, and Robbie made some nice wee adjustments actually when he was attempting his takedowns and the guy was defending him. Robbie would give up on the takedown and just start hitting, which is kind of, it's not something you see a lot of amateur guys doing. It's a big thing. You just move on to the next attack. Yeah. And he had a bit of success with that in the first round. Pretty close first round, but could have went either way. The second round didn't get going. Robbie's caught him with an absolute bomb, a left cross, and wobbled the guy, and he's followed that up with a takedown. So the good level of takedown the guy had in round 1 just fell out the window when he was rocked for the punch. And he just never really recovered. The guy, Robbie's took him down, got into a leg ride position and just started hitting him. And the ref could have probably stopped a wee bit sooner, to be honest. But it was stopped like a minute a bit into round 2. So it was a good performance for Robbie, man. He looked comfortable round 1 and stuff, and then he's hit him and got him out of there in round 2, which is all you can ask for at that level. He looked good. He looks like he can move down a wee bit more in weight as well. Robbie was very comfortable making 77. We've got an offer there for October 1st for Budo and Bolton. The show that Tunde was meant to be the co-main event on. So yeah. I'm waiting to see if Tunde's opponent pulled last week with an injured foot. I'm waiting to see if these guys can rematch Tunde, and what I'll do is I'll take Robbie down with Tunde for that fight. So I'll wait and see hopefully the next couple of days. But he looked good. He's back in the gym and he's keen to move on now. So we'll see what happens.
Brilliant. And then obviously Camille and Coonley. Just briefly summarise their fights for us and the performances.
So Camille probably had the hardest fight on paper for the guys I was looking at. Camille's guy was 3-3. He was a bit of a monster as well. Good physical specimen. He'd done some sambo competitions and stuff like that, as well as MMA. Camille was 3-1 going into it, but Camille's had a massive gap. Like Camille done nothing. Camille got a bad injury just before COVID, and like his neck, so it wasn't an injury he could train on about. And he's obviously no fought, and I don't know if it's maybe been 3 years or something, but he's no fought since he beat Fraser Hutch. And this guy's been quite active. Looking at it, looked like it was going to be quite evenly matched physically. The dude was a big lad, good punching and stuff. And I remember saying to the guys that Mark Ewan that went and coached me, I was like, Camille's maybe got the hardest fight on paper here. And at that weight, the guys are big dudes, man. They've weighed in at 84 the day before, so they're probably 93, 94 the next day. If you make any mistakes, it could go bad. But Camille was excellent, man. He was brilliant. He came out and moved, and he kicked the guy's legs to bits the first round and taken away his mobility and taking away the guy's ability to base and throw his punching. It was pretty smart. He got a takedown at the end of the round, and he just kind of rinsed and repeated that sequence he'd move about. And trick the guy into thinking he was getting a kickboxing match. He would boot his legs a bit to the calf and throw some nice shots. And then whenever the guy really committed to striking, Camille would get a takedown. And he's very strong on top, Camille. He's got good, consistent top pressure. So he's won all 3 rounds. He looked excellent. I was proper happy for him. He's 37 years old, Camille. He comes in straight for work. He's got kids. Do you know what I mean? And he'd built up. He was meant to fight for the on-top title before COVID. And he had it, and he said, like, he just wanted this belt. It's like an achievement for him. Do you know what I mean? He's somebody who started late and stuff. He trains very hard, and I was made up for him. It was a good night. It was a very good performance for him as well. So I don't know if he's maybe on top's coming back December and February or March or something. So I think he might just stay there and look to defend that belt. Do you know what I mean? I don't think he's got aspirations of turning pro and having a run at Cage Warriors or the UFC or whatever. So it was great, man. It was good.
Just want to achieve what he can at this level.
He looked good, man. The thing that stood out with our fighters on the show on top, I seen most of the fights. Our guys were more well-rounded than anybody else on the card. There was some good guys on the card. There was a really good Irish kid for Paddy Houlihan and stuff, but some of them looked decent in certain areas and stuff, and then weak on others. But the 3 guys we had out were all very, very competent everywhere. They all had good exchanges, striking defensively, offensively. They all wrestled well. They all had good exchanges on the mat and stuff like that. So that was pretty cool, man.
And just obviously, lastly, Coonley.
So again, we never mentioned it, but Coonley's went in since the last kind of season of the podcast. Coonley's went and won the IMAF formation competition. So it took place earlier this year in Birmingham. He's turned up. There was 8 people in his category. He went in at welterweight, weighing in on the day to weigh in every day. Fought Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and he's won it. So he's like 4 Nations IMAF champion and stuff. So he's had a bit of time away, Coonley and stuff. He had a lot of stuff going on personally last year and stuff. Then the COVID stuff, and he's just matured a good bit. The kid, he just went for like this. You forget how young he is sometimes, but he just went for this very talented prospect, and then he went on a wee run of losing fights and just making mistakes to the point I think that his record was 5-5 before the IMAF thing, and I think a lot of guys were probably overlooking him. And at the IMAF thing, they gave him Teddy Stringer first, who was ranked number 1 in the country for a while. If you remember, Mark Ewan beat him back before Mark turned pro, but I think Teddy went to like the World Championships and medalled or something like that. He'd medalled in some major IMAF things, but he was like England's favourite. Do you know what I mean? He's like he's a bit of the golden boy kind of thing. But I mean, he's a talented kid, and I don't know if he thought he was going to walk through Coonley, but Coonley got him on the Friday night, and I think he 30-27 them. Do you know what I mean? He won. For what I remember, I think Teddy got a takedown one of the rounds, but done nothing. And Coonley just went for this like 4-fight losing streak or whatever to have just beat the best guy in the competition on the first day, and his confidence just started growing a wee bit. That and the amount of work he's done, and then he competed again on the Saturday and won again on points, very comfortable. And by the time it got to the finals, everybody was talking about Coonley. He won an award for like the most standout athlete. I can't remember what athlete of the tournament type of thing. He won that. I think he got £500 or something. But he looked flawless for the 3 fights, and he went away after that. Obviously had time off. Then took the on top fight, and it was the same idea. He was wanting that 70 kilo title, so he came back down from welterweight to lightweight, and he was pretty flawless against. I think the French guy was 5-2. But Coonley was excellent. He 10-9 round 1, 10-8 round 2, 10-9 round 3. All that was really missing was a finish, and we spoke about that. And he actually hurt the guy with a striking round 2, and then stood off him and celebrated a wee bit. But he was good, and it was a decent main event as well. For you could see as the night went on top, and the better guys started coming at the level of the fights was getting better. And Coonley was probably the guy on the show, but without being biased. Like over the course of the night, Kunle was good. So that's him 9-5 now on a 4-fight winning streak. I don't know where he's ranked. His ranking and all that shot up. So I think he's maybe want to do one more this year and then take it from there.
Aye. And so moving on, obviously, loads to talk about in the UFC. We'll just cover what's been happening recently, but I think we've got to speak about the Leon Edwards, Kamaru Usman. Massive achievement for Leon. In a fight, I don't think many people gave him much chance. I would say that most people felt like Kamaru was just going to probably dominate the fight, unless Leon Edwards could pull something special out the bag, and he certainly pulled something special out the bag, and it was just a beautiful kick, landed perfectly. It was set up brilliantly, and obviously Kamaru leans down in it, but I mean, it's no luck or anything like that. That's just the sign of a really high level fighter who's still switched on in the fight that late in it. After having probably 3 rounds, he was pretty much dominated in 2, 3, and 4. But what was your thoughts on that and the performance? And then we'll maybe speak about the rematch, which I'm assuming is going to be coming up next for both guys.
I like everybody else, I kind of had Usman as his favourite. I don't buy into him being the greatest welterweight of all time type of thing. I don't think he's even in the same conversation as GSP. He's beat a couple of guys, the same guys twice.
Yep.
But he is a very, very good champion. And I think stylistically, he's always going to be a hard fight for Leon. I was picking Usman to win basically on. He won the first fight, obviously, which was 6 or 7 years prior, but it was the improvements. Both guys have improved massively since the first fight, but Usman just looks like a different level. He's added so much to his game, and the way the fight was going up until the finish was kind of how I predicted it would be, and I think how most people. I think Leon had a very good first round, but it took over, and you can see it in the corner and Leon's body language and stuff like that. It looked like he didn't want to be there for spells. And you can obviously hear the conversations between him and his corner man are kind of viral, with the coach begging him not to feel sorry for his cell and stuff. And the corner's done a fucking really good job with him. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And the kick itself was beautiful. They obviously came out and showed footage of them drilling that. And it's just one of the things. We obviously had Champions League football on last night. If you make a mistake at that level, you get punished. And Usman, it was the first time in the whole fight where Usman wasn't going forward, keeping Leon on his. He took it. It looks like he's taken a half step back, took a breather, and then Leon's hit the jab, the hip fake, or the hip fake jab, and then the high kick. And it's just the level of the sport. And Leon deserves all the credit in the world for being able to pull it off, because it's like a lightning strike. That, do you know what I mean? There's no room for error. But if that goes an inch too high and he eats it, or an inch too low and it bumps the shoulder, or if he doesn't time it right and it doesn't land, then he's no UFC middleweight champion. But it's brilliant that he is, man. We've spoken about him on here, how underrated the guy is before. He's a very well-rounded fighter. He's a smart fighter as well, which I like. But he's already the underdog for the rematch. If you see the betting lines and stuff, I don't know if they're going to make that. How soon they make that? I was kind of hoping they'd give him the Masvidal fight, because I think he smokes George Masvidal, and it gets him paid, and then a title defence, and then he can go either Usman or Covington, because he'll struggle with both of them just because of the way they are. But you should never bet against him landing that kick again. Do you know what I mean? He'll be more confident now. He knows like he can. The thing I had with that fight going into it was I don't think Leon had stopped anybody in the UFC since his debut. He was decisioning everybody, and I was like, how can he possibly beat Usman without stopping him? And then he fucking did. But it was a big night, man.
That's the thing as well. You've just said there, if you're Leon Edwards, if you're his management as well, you've got to be looking at it and think, right, Usman's probably out for a bit, because he get knocked out cold, so there's definitely medical suspensions, and depending on how Leon is, He is the champion. Surely they're going to be screaming, just get that Masvidal. I know people are saying, oh, ignore Masvidal, but like you say, there's already a written backstory there. It's a fight that will sell. Is Masvidal, love him or hate him, he's a big name in the sport now, and that thing with Leon Edwards is one of the things that built his reputation. Is whether you agree or disagree with it. So it seems like it would be a smart move for Leon, because it's like you say, it's an opportunity to get paid. And just another thing, something Usman spoke about as well. I listened to him on Rogan. He spoke about how in that first round he was, I don't know if this was maybe a wee bit of overconfidence kicking in because of the way the fight had been going, but he spoke about he was actually trying to set Leon Edwards up for a finish. And then obviously Leon's head kicked him, and it's good night. He basically says he came to in the ambulance almost, although he was awake and stuff like that. So it'll be interesting to see when it takes place. But I think Usman's going to be the favourite, but there has to be that balance. How does the knockout affect Usman? Because it's the first time he's been knocked out, and Leon's confidence has to be up.
It'll be just being the champion is going to build his confidence, but you'll need to just watch, because he'll be aware that he was starting, not fade, but he was starting to go a wee bit in the fight. You know, he looked like he didn't want to be there. Like it was getting to the point where it was not hard to watch, but you're just like, oh man, you start feeling a wee bit sorry for the guy. He's like, fucking nothing's happening for him. But he now knows that he's got the ability to take him out, which is a massive thing. You can build confidence around about that. He is a smart dude, him as well, so he can go away and he can make adjustments. He's got however long that fight was, like 19 minutes or whatever. He's got all that data now. Do you know what I mean? Like to build off that he never had before. And he can come back and make adjustments for there. But business-wise, I know the guys don't want to give Masvidal the fight, but it's the easiest fight at the top. If you take him as him, Covington and Usman, Masvidal's the easiest fight out of the three.
Yeah. And it's a fight that
he will get more money.
And the other thing is a fight. I mean, at the end of the day, UFC's about what's going to sell. Obviously, the Usman fight's a massive fight, that rematch, and Usman will get the rematch. But that Masvidal fight is a fight that will sell, and the UFC will be able to sell. I mean, they've already got the promo videos sitting there. They just need to show the, what was it, 3-piece and soda?
Aye, I know. Like any other sport in the world would try and hide that. Do you know what I mean? I'm not daft, but it is an easy sell. That's the one they can collect pay-per-view points on and all that. And Leon will get more money for that fight than he'll get for the other two. And again, it's still a risky-ish fight, but Masvidal's know what he was when he came over and beat Till and stuff like that. But he's not on a great run either, but he's still relatively relevant. Whereas if Masvidal goes and takes another fight and loses to maybe like fucking Gilbert Burns, then you've got Khamzat chapping at the door soon. Do you know what I mean? He wants to get as much money as he can. Whereas not easy fights, but with the safest fights as possible. Yeah. Imagine he misses Masvidal, then he gets fucking Usman, then he gets Khamzat or Covington, or any of these sequences of guys. It's all hard fights for less money than he gets for Masvidal.
Well, aye, that's it, and it's almost a smooth segue now that you've mentioned Khamzat. Let's talk about UFC 279, and no point sugarcoating it. It was a fucking shit show. I mean, right. So the matchups were, for me, that Nate Diaz Khamzat fight, that was horrible. And if you look at what Khamzat done with Holland, I don't see the Nate fight looking any different. Actually, I think it could have looked really bad. So Khamzat misses weight. Now they've come out and says he was told to medically stop. He was told by a doctor to stop. Even trying to weight. I think where people are a bit annoyed is that he missed weight, but he missed weight with a lot and with quite a big smile on his face. It didn't look. Conspiracy theorists would say it was set up. Now, I'm not saying that's the case, obviously, but it wasn't a good look, and it certainly wasn't a good look for Khamzat.
He's just turned into the ultimate bad guy. He's just went with it, which is smart. But it didn't look good. The good thing is you never got to see Nate Diaz getting his absolute fucking head caved in and smashed.
Yeah.
And then having to leave the UFC. You've seen him going out on a win against Tony, which that fight was terrible. Like, it wasn't a great fight. The two of them, it looked like an amateur level fight. But if you want the guys to fight, then let them fight guys like each other, where they're not going to hurt each other. It's not going to take much. Like, they guys they've earned their due. They guys, they've had so many different wars, and you can see even the way the guys talk, and there's damage there already. You don't.
Aye.
UFC and that don't usually give a fuck about feeding these older named guys to these young up and coming killers, and it never goes well for the old guy. It never goes well. They build their new stars on the blood of their old stars. So that was the main thing, was that for me. We got to see Nate and Ferguson, who's more competitive than Khamzat, because that version of Nate that turned up would have got murdered off Khamzat. It wouldn't have lasted round. You couldn't have stopped that, even just the physicality. The waiting, if I don't know what's happened there, but we've obviously had 15, 16 fights with UFC, and the doctors never get any day with the weight cut until you go downstairs in the morning to the actual scale. They've not seen you. So the only way he can tell you to stop cutting weight is if you've phoned them to come to the room that you're cutting weight in or whatever. For what I heard apart, for what I've reading and what I've heard and stuff like that, Khamzat's team did phone the doctor because there was issues there. But so we spoke. Obviously, the Nate Diaz and Tony, and actually, I think it worked out better, not just for Nate, but for Tony as well, because I don't think Tony's originally slated fight would have went better than the one against Nate did, because there was some weird shit happening in the fight. Tony constantly turning his back. At one point, it looked like Nate Diaz had just chucked it. The two of the guys should have stopped a wee while ago. We've spoken about this before, but Tony, you can hear the way Tony Ferguson talks. He's delusional. Like, I know fighters have got to say certain things. They've got to have a certain mindset and stuff like that. But there should be somebody running about him just saying, like, this isn't for you anymore. You're done. You need to. I don't know if he's got kids and shit, but you need to be about for your kids in some kind of capacity in the next 10, 15, 20 years and stuff. And you need to be fucking mentally competent. You can't just be a slimmer mess. Do you know what I mean? So you can see it with the way, if you go back and watch Nate Diaz on The Ultimate Fighter and then watch him now, he's not the same person. The sport takes everything out of you. The fights that they guys have had, and Tony's even worse. Tony went for, he used to be this freak athlete, super fast and dynamic, and you look at him now and everyone's slow and laboured, and he's still trying to convince himself that he's got a title run on him and all that sort of shit. And it's just sad, man, when you see it. Like, it's just not very nice. It's like when you see some of these ex-football players going and playing Sunday League, and you're like, fucking hell, he captained Scotland 5 years ago. Or, do you know what I mean? Right. It's not a good place for them. But the guys only getting their face punched in and losing brain cells. But the event was a weird event. Khamzat's obviously come out and smashed. Ended up with another guy who can't wrestle. Came out and absolutely pied him, and he's now the ultimate bad guy in the division. I don't know what weight class he's going to be at now, but he will not be able to do certain things at middleweight that he was getting away with at welterweight, because he's a proper size bully. But he is exceptional. Like, at some point he will be a champion at one of the weight classes.
The problem is, missing weight there will be alarm bells with the UFC with that. So it's not like that win was ever going to get him a 170 title shot, because there's no way you can miss weight with that and then get a title shot. He'll have to now fight and make weight. And I agree, it was just a weird event if we right, and I'm here in Britain, we obviously don't pay pay-per-view for the UFCs. If I'd paid pay-per-view for that, and then with that main event, and I'm trying not to be, I'm not want to be disrespectful of that to legends, but if you'd paid a pay-per-view for that as your main event, you would be fucking raging.
Especially when you're used to the standard of some of the fights in the last pay-per-views has been incredible. Do you know what I mean? And then you come up with that, and then even the fight nights and stuff, even the London card and all that shit, and then you get that, and you're just like, it's just not the same product. Then it's like guys like that. The rest of the card wasn't much better. There was nothing great on that card. It was built around Diaz and Kamzat, and then obviously it should teach him a lesson for top loading the card like that, having that one big massive fight, and then the rest is pretty much just dog meat. But it's there and done with now, and then they obviously wanted Kamzat to beat Nate. Leon's got a title fight on the back of beating Nate Diaz, so and that's blown up in their face a wee bit. So hopefully Nate's away and does what he's got to do now, and hopefully Ferguson's not far behind them, because if they keep putting then now's the time to put Paddy Pimblett with Tony Ferguson. Do you know what I mean? You want to give Paddy a name, because Paddy would beat him up now. Do you know what I mean? Smoke him. Like, it's a different matter when it was that Tony Ferguson on that 11-fight winning streak at lightweight, and he was fucking butchering everybody. But it's not the same person anymore. It's not the same.
No, and it makes sense. It would make sense for Paddy as well, but I guess we'll just need to see how it goes. So it was good to get back and get an episode in and catch up with everyone at the gym. So we'll be back putting out content again, getting these back out to you, and at some point back in the gym and get some episodes done in person. But thanks very much for tuning in, everybody, and obviously like and subscribe as well.